What's up guys, Ben Milliken here from Milliken Fishing. You know, I've done a ton of damage this spring, summer, and now into the fall, flipping, pitching, and skipping into a lot of cover that a lot of people haven't been able to get baits into. And that just comes from spending a ton of time on the water, a ton of time with the bait caster in your hand, learning the different types of settings to properly skip, pitch, and flip your bait. So in today's video, I'm going to take my KastKing Stealth and Perigee out to the lake, get to skipping, and show you guys some of the different settings I use every single time I'm out on the water. All right, you can see we are out to the lake and we got some beautiful docks to flip, pitch, skip, everything right in front of us. I see some bait fish blowing up right there, so that's a great sign that there are some fish, some active fish in there. Got the old KastKing Stealth, put on the KastKing Perigee rod. This is the 7.4 heavy rod, a nice rod for doing this. You know, the rod is extremely important, just as important as the reel when you're skipping. Here's what you want. You want a rod with a lot of backbone, but you want a rod with a nice soft tip. Not super soft, but soft enough that you can slingshot that bait up under different types of objects. So first thing we're gonna wanna do, now that we got the right rod and reel combination, is set up our reel. You know, before we set up our reel, I wanna go over this. It's really, really important to have a full spool of line. This is 20-pound KastKing Fluorokote line. It's really important to fill it as high as you possibly can without putting too much line on the reel. Your reel can't perform its best without being completely full of line. Next thing we're going to do is set up the braking system. So what I like to do for skipping and pitching, I like to put it right in the middle at 5. This is a 5/16 ounce weight with a beaver bait, and so that's a nice weight to put it right there smack dab in the middle. And then as far as the brake adjustment goes, as far as the side brake, what I'm going to do, I'm going to drop it in the lake and see how that overran a little bit. You don't want it to overrun so much that your line just blowing up, but you definitely want some loops in your line. I mean, it's kind of a feel thing when you're doing this, but the most important thing is you don't want it too tight to where it's just not doing any type of backlashing. You don't want it so loose that your reel is just going to blow up as soon as that thing hits the water. Now, as far as a bait choice for skipping and pitching, for skipping, it's really important to have a bait with some flat sides on it. This is a D-bomb. It's a beaver style bait. Any beaver style bait is perfect for this because it has a nice 2 flat sides on it. You know, jigs with a flat side on them seem to skip better than about anything else. And the reason for that is all the weight is directed to that head. So that's gonna be the first thing that hits the water, and all the mass is in the head. And so it's gonna be a perfect surface for it to skip on and ease its way back up underneath these docks and boats and stuff like this. All right, let's get to the fun part of actually skipping these beautiful docks right here. So the 2 different ways I skip, I put the rod in my dominant hand. I want to go this way because I know it's from my baseball days. I swing a bat left-handed in baseball, so a nice underhand roll cast from this side is going to be perfect for me. So you can do a roll cast like that, or you can do your simple flipping and pitching. When I flip and pitch, I want to hold the bait about even with the top of the nut that locks down on the reel. Bring it back and keep it as level as possible, and that's just something you're just going to have to use the rod tip to load up and fire your bait up under there. If you don't do that, you know, you're going to have the line just going to swing forward and stop pretty much as soon as you get to that length of line that was out. You know, once you get used to it though, you can really use that rod to get that bait fired up all the way up underneath whatever you're fishing. All right, so let's talk about skipping next. Now, skipping is something that definitely, it took me a lot of time to master this, and it really takes a lot of time practicing, spending time with a certain reel rod combination so you can find what you like. A lot of people like a shorter rod, a 7-foot heavy, medium heavy for skipping. I'm a little taller and I'm more comfortable with longer rods, so I do really like this 7.4 Perigee for it. But basically for a skip, what you're going to do is you want that nice underhand motion. You want to have a low trajectory with your bait, just like skipping a rock. And a big thing I see people do when they get started is they try to skip way too hard. So you just want a nice, easy motion like that, and you'll really have to get dialed in. I have to get dialed in almost every day I'm on the water. I can't just pick it up and get to skipping usually. It takes some practice throws, and it's always good to get out away from the dock to practice before you actually come in and start skipping. Now, once you're comfortable with it and ready to go, it's time to back out away. You probably want to be a solid 15 to 20 feet away from your target where you want to skip. You want to have a low trajectory, and you want to aim for where you want to hit on that first skip, obviously. You don't want to aim way back. You want to aim on that first skip and just have it in your mind where that's going to go after it does skip. Something like this, it's good to aim right at that corner of the dock. That way it kind of takes itself. The momentum will take that bait all the way down the end of the dock. Or if you're going to flip it up under a pontoon or something like that, it's good to aim right for where that pontoon back edge is, because that's what's going to take it up underneath. Now, something to remember when you're skipping docks is your thumb control on that spool is what's going to be controlling everything throughout the cast. A lot of people think you're just going to skip it up under there and it's going to act exactly the same on the spool. The line is as if you're just making a really long, hard cast. That's not it at all. You need to control your line coming out with your thumb the entire way through, and the more you get used to your thumb control, the better you're going to be with that. You know, one more tip I can share with you guys to cut the learning curve a lot is to actually use a piece of electrical tape. And so what you do is you'll make a long cast a little bit further than as far as you could ever really skip or pitch, and then at that point you're going to click your bail over and put a piece of electrical tape over your line, just over the line on the spool, and that's it, and then reel it back on there. So what that's going to do is you won't be able to backlash that whole spool of line past where that electrical tape is. It'll just stop right at that point. Yeah, you'll still backlash a little bit as you're getting used to it, but you won't wreck an entire spool of line. You can go through a lot of money worth of line, trust me, by backlashing from flipping and skipping docks. Well, that's all I got from you guys today. I hope you learned something from this video. Go take a flat Texas rig bait or a flat-headed jig, get out and skip it up under some docks and laydowns, and you can find some of your best fish of the entire season. Thanks for watching, guys. I am out of here. Peace!